Here with me this morning is our panel, former Democratic Senator Bob Kerrey of Nebraska, former Republican Governor Brewer of Arizona, Radio America and The Blaze host Dana Loesch, and CNN political commentator Bakari Sellers. Let's start with this whole thing about accepting the results and whether or not the election's rigged. Was that a missed opportunity for Mr. Trump, you think?
Discussing whether or not the election was rigged?
Yeah, at the actual debate, not the Saturday Night Live one.
I think that it was, in a way, a missed opportunity because, you know, in certain cases, you have to acknowledge that voter fraud exists. We all know that voter fraud is real. Is the entire system itself rigged to the point where it could swing an entire presidential election? I don't believe that. I personally don't believe it. I mean, if we have races where they are incredibly close and you're talking about the difference between a couple of hundred votes, then maybe I could see the argument for that. But I think that he should have used this as an opportunity to say, no matter what happens, you need to get out and you need to vote. You need to get out and make your voice heard, cast your vote.
He had to have known this question was coming. Why not have a better answer for it? I mean, you heard Mike Pence, Kellyanne Conway, Ivanka Trump all answer the question the correct way. We'll accept the results. We hope to win. Why not just say that?
Well, I think that Donald really believes that there is some hanky-panky going on. Now, I have been a former election director, the chief director in Arizona of elections, and I believe that our races in Arizona, there could be a possibility of something having a hiccup. Bottom line is usually it's not very dramatic, but everybody, the law provides for any candidate anywhere in the United States to challenge an election. And if he feels that something is wrong, then he should take that opportunity to challenge it. But there will be a peaceful transfer of power, obviously, when it is certified and verified.
Well, we have two former Democratic elected officials from red states at the table. Senator Kerrey, when you ran for re-election in Nebraska, I mean, was this ever something you worried about, election rigging, except from the other side of the aisle?
No, never did. Never did. I mean, the big thing you always worry about is whether or not people are going to register and get out to vote. No, never worried about rigging of any election that I've ever been a part of.
What about you, Bakari?
No, I think the most amazing thing, and Donald Trump has said a lot of rhetoric, which I view to be very dangerous, but I think this is the most dangerous rhetoric that he has because it undercuts the very fundamentals and very foundation of our democracy in this country, going to the voting process. And I mean, to the governor's point, I'm glad that she stated it. Donald Trump has never stated that there will be a peaceful transfer of power. He's never gone that far. But that was never a concern of mine, this whole thing that it was rigged. My largest concern was voter suppression, was what we see in North Carolina right now with Governor McCrory, the fact that they're cutting down the number of early voting sites. So voter ID, I mean, the long list of voter suppression tactics was a much larger concern than somehow some rigging of the system. I should have claimed rigging. I might be lieutenant governor right now.
Well, and to add, Jake, as well, if you need people to turn out and vote for you, you don't want them to feel dispirited. You don't want people to feel as though their vote doesn't matter. And I think that gets into a little bit of a dangerous territory and maybe just making people feel as their vote doesn't count. And that's not the case.
So, there's also sort of a tendency of older people. I can speak on behalf of older people in this panel. You can't, Governor.
But
you know, there's a tendency as you go through life to become bitter. And the one thing that I don't like is when you listen to old people tell young people, don't get involved, don't participate. The whole system is rigged. It isn't rigged. And it's terrific to get involved, and there's great opportunities to be involved. I'm both Republican and Democrat. I've rarely talked to anybody that got involved in politics and said it wasn't worthwhile. So the central message he's putting out there is sort of the geezer cynic, don't get involved because the whole thing doesn't work. It does work.
So Mr. Trump went to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to give this big speech, and he started the speech by railing against his accusers and railing against the media. Take a listen.
Every woman lied when they came forward to hurt my campaign. Total fabrication. The events never happened. Never. All of these liars will be sued after the election is over.
Not normally what one thinks of when one thinks of the Gettysburg Address, but I just have to wonder, I mean, this was an opportunity for him to like make a pitch to voters about things that matter to them, and he started with a 15-minute rant about grievances that a self-described billionaire has. I'm sorry, people don't feel bad for him.
Well, it's been really, you know, he's been waterboarded by these issues. It seems like it's really been kind of somewhat of a put-up oppression of Donald Trump from all of these people lining up. It's just unbelievable. And anybody that's been under those kinds of assaults, I think, want to defend themselves. But he did a great job. But he did a great job. Wait a minute. I have the floor. He did a great job explaining to the American people. Donald Trump is authentic, and he tells it like it is. And he went out and he told the public exactly what he's going to deliver when he becomes president of the United States.
No, he tells it like it is in his head. It doesn't necessarily mean that what's in his head is what's going. No, now I got the floor. So it's not just. He does tell it like it is up in his head, and that's the problem. You never know what's up in his head. He up in his head should have said, "I'm in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Now's not the time to talk about 10 women who brought a charge against."
11 now.
He's talking
11 or
about
whatever the
people.
number.
He's talking about jobs, the economy, draining the swamp.
waterboarding.
He's talking about the important things, Bakari, that the people are interested
Governor,
in.
you are, but he started off not talking
But
about
I mean,
that.
this waterboarding that the governor is talking about, I mean, Donald Trump actually literally said these things on a tape with Billy Bush, and now they're coming back and people are saying that he actually committed those acts. That's first. But I don't remember when Abraham Lincoln started his speech out just lambasting the women who were accusing him of sexual
He
assault.
apologized, Bakari. There's been no
let's give Dana.
I'm fine with him saying what he
to all
wants to
these
6
other
ways to
allegations.
Sunday. I'm
None
fine with it.
whatsoever.
He can say what he wants to, how he wants to, anytime that he wants to, except when you're doing a speech at Gettysburg, because it was a good speech, and that's what kills my soul. It was a good speech. I feel like Cuba Gooding Jr., and I'm talking to Tom Cruise right now on Jerry Maguire, and I'm like, help me, help you. Stop this. Just stay away from that and give a great speech.
His reform proposals were perfectly.
With the hands talking.
Were perfectly great. I agree. But he stepped all
He's the
all
kid
over.
who scores at his own basket.
Okay, we
I
all
mean,
agree. Terrific speech at
It
Gettysburg.
was a good speech. I think it was a solid
Except
speech.
for the first 15 minutes.
Why did he put that in there? Why did he pepper it with that? And then,
Because
because
it's
now
Donald
we're
Trump.
talking
Let's
about
take
it.
a quick break.